Hi, Sonya.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the Stephen Shields radio show. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, and thank you. It's been, how's your year so far?
Year's been interesting. I've been doing some hiking. I've been keeping fit. Been doing wisdom podcast as well. So I've been staying busy. What about yourself?
Yeah, me too. Busy. A lot of things coming up, so definitely taking advantage of the full year. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the time just went. We're in February already. Can you believe that?
I know, it's so quick.
Yeah,
It
and
is
it's
very
almost
quick.
halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we need a fresh start to 2022. Living in a pandemic, it's not been easy for anyone else. I'm sure in Canada it's been difficult.
Yeah.
How much self growth have you had in personal development?
Well, the thing with me is I'm actually in the States. I'm in Louisiana. I'm visiting my sister. I came here in end of September and went down to Florida for a marketing conference and then I thought, since I'm doing this side of the world or this side of the continent, I thought I'd go visit my Sundara clan in Houston and Austin, Texas. So I was like, and then of course I land here as part of the last kind of stop, and then I'll head home end of February or March after the Mardi Gras.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you looking to come to Australia in the future?
Yeah, I wanted to. I know this might be like I had like planned with my friends last year, right? Last December, of course, that Australia was locked down at that time, so couldn't go. And this year, I think I might be able to go. I was supposed to go to Bali in December, but then my cousin said, okay, I can't do December, we'll do February. So it worked out really well. So you might see me show up in Australia yet.
Yeah. If you do show up in Sydney, definitely send me a message on Instagram.
Yeah, I will, definitely. You're in Sydney, so I have some friends in Sydney still. And so a few people here I met in not only on Clubhouse, but also, all the tours that I go to or the travels I travel to, there's always Australian. Believe it or not. I was in Hawaii, there's a lot of Australian, Easter Island and all of these things, right? Polynesian. And of course, when I was in Europe, I ran into a lot of, we became good friends in Spain, especially. I met a few friends that we keep up with each other in Facebook, right? So definitely, that's the cool thing about social media, right?
Yeah, social media is definitely growing as well. I've been speaking a lot about on cancel culture, and Joe Rogan's been getting some heat from the media as well.
Yeah.
Over Dr. Robert Malone was going against the vaccine. Facebook's cancelling people out. I did a podcast yesterday on wisdom about cancel culture.
Yeah, I don't really stay up to the news because I can only take certain things, right? Yes, there's things that we have to do, but I have been so obsessed with the news, and then I became, kind of almost negative, right? So I didn't want to do that, so I kind of tend to stay away from the news and the TV now, right? And just do my thing like here, and of course doing work all the time because I enjoy it. I didn't mind, spending time on this kind of thing, right? So that's where I've been. I'm not so. I mean, like I know there's also everywhere, not only on Clubhouse and stuff like that, discussing all these things. But I'm not interested in other people's lives recently, unless yeah, it's to better the world kind of thing, right? But so I don't tend to stay on that side too long. I just like when people like yourself tell me, that's good. I mean, whether it's good or bad, I don't really, go into that too much. So I kind of tend to stay neutral. And
I've walked away from Clubhouse because there was just no value for me on it. Too much drama.
yeah, I mean, like for me too. Originally when it started, right, it was quite interesting to see, the trends and stuff like that go from people who started it, whoever adopted it first, to see their transformation in terms of what they've become and how they use it. Some people, took it to their max, and some people kind of like, settle down and kind of see where they are in development as well. So I've seen, also clubs not as busy as they used to be. So the transition and the changes that Clubhouse is making, of course, is totally different. And I only spend like maybe a couple of because I have my club too in Clubhouse. I spend like Tuesday and Sunday usually on for an hour, just so that I do keep up with some of the things, the news, and the changes in the app itself, because it is social audio, right? And of course, if you're focusing towards that, and this is how you're going to carry your message, then a little bit of attention is needed as well. So, but not to the point that where I used to, like every day I was on there, right, and developing and seeing, and of course, in terms of this is what is good for the communication, like yourself doing the podcast, right, and us not doing so many, me and not doing so many videos. That kind of thing. So this is kind of like one of the way that we can communicate with other people, of course, especially with the COVID and now lockdown, and still in where I was supposed to go home to in British Columbia, Canada, right? So.
It sucks with Clubhouse. You can't record it and publish it as a podcast. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw the record, but I didn't know that you can't do it as a podcast. But I don't usually record the rooms anyways, just because, the idea is for the live feed and stuff like that, right? And I know with Wisdom it does record, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I play around with it a little bit, but.
So what are your goals for 2022, and what are you looking at achieving? Yeah,
in terms of goals, I just continuing from last year, right? Because some things that you wanted to be able to do, some you can't, and it takes a little more time in some. So it's just more of the adjustment to the vision that you have originally is still there, right? The goal is just a specific components of that vision to and of course, your overall picture is still going at it, as long as you keep at it and, see as you make mistakes and stuff like that, that you can develop from there, right? And I don't set as like we used to do, like, resolutions and New Year. And of course, being part of the corporate back then, I used to set annual goals with the corporation and, the company I was working with. But as I now branch out into my own, then I don't set, in terms of, I set the goals in terms what I want the company to develop too. And of course, what I needed, and in terms of collaboration, and, I had a good chat with some of people here in Wisdom that also pass on some of their advice, and I love that, because this is what the platform does, right? Allows that access to the things that you don't usually get access to, which is the people who have been there. And these are the mentors here in Wisdom, including yourself, right?
And do you miss the corporate world?
No. I know that was fast, right? Fast response. I don't miss it. I miss the people for sure. Well, I still keep in touch with them, actually, so I don't miss anyone. The one that stays with you are your friends that you bring with you. The one that we socialize outside of our work hours, This is the one cool thing that, I was working with this company a long time ago, and then I went back. I got a chance to go back there, and almost like a second time. If you wanted to say I travel back in time, but in a different, of course, different year, right? But you get to like, what would you have done if you were to? I wasn't happy when I left the company, right? And so my one wish was that to go back and redo this thing, right? So I got that chance like a couple of years before COVID, right? And so I took that chance, and I wanted to, this time around, I'm going to do it my way, and I want to be happy at work, because I wasn't happy at when I was in the company before. So going with that kind of mind and mindset, right? And how are you going to be able to do that, right? And then it takes some time to really see how things work, and where the skills I gained to all the jobs and the planning practices that I did run, is that it allows you to use that skill and adapt to this new environment, because when you go back into 10 years after, right, it's totally a different company, and so how do you make this environment even better, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, like, I got a chance to do that. And, the thing with that is, if your colleagues and your coworkers are happy, business is there, care is there for the clients, and care is there for the team. And that's was my, in terms of satisfaction I got out of that for the 2 years that I spent there. I mean, that 2 years also, I went through a little bit of a shaky side on the personal side of things as well, but definitely on the professional side, it was being developed beautifully. And I feel that, asking myself at the end of the 2 years, that's the other thing, that, you can accomplish things because you know what success look like. You can kind of use that and to build this kind of thing over in a different environment, right? So success formula is, once you reach there, you don't want to go back, right? So you pretty much, where you're thrown into whatever environment, you're going to be okay, because you have that thing. It's almost a muscle memory that's inside you, that's conditioning you to be the better self that you're always going to be from here on out. You don't want to go back. Just like, speaking to Daryl the other day, you fail fast and then you learn fast. And then when you achieve that success where you think you are, then, those stick by you. You don't want to go back again to the things that was failing, right?
Exactly. Do something that you love doing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, I'm so grateful for what happened personally and professionally, because, it's not all like, it's not all like all happy in the environment. You have to make it, and it requires a lot of variables, a lot of people involved, right? Whether it's collaboration or, using other factors for success to happen, right? And I was so grateful that everything kind of shuffled. There were ups and downs for sure, going throughout, because you're experimenting, your trial and error. And sometimes not all things work from the other one, doesn't work for this environment, right? So there was a lot of give and take. And of course, I was like transferred into this smaller town, and the people and the culture is different. And so trying to adapt to that. And sometimes the inflexibility is there, when you're in a small town, and the people in that town is specific to that town. And if you don't live there and grow up there, then, it's kind of hard to adapt. So you have to be able to adapt to that kind of environment as well. And but I was kind of also maybe lucky in many ways, right? I got transferred close to my home, and of course people there know me, and so success was faster in the second part of that work. So I was happy when I left, and left it happy in that spirit, right? And even the people commenting, it's like, Sonya, we will miss your spirit here. And that's like, for me, a good, the compliment that I was looking for, the validation that I was looking for when I went back, when I got the chance to do it all over again, right? So.
Yeah, that's an interesting story about the corporate world. You know, it's it can be quite depressing at times. Yeah, especially when COVID hit as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the good thing is I wasn't there. I just left it before, and then I went to the UK for 3.5 months. And of course, halfway through, that's when the lockdown happened in the UK. Yeah, I was, I had a choice, right? Like the government was recalling the people, all their citizens back to the country, right? And then, like, I was halfway through, but I always finished stuff. So I decided to stay there until I finished whatever and I started it, right? So that was the best thing that happened to me too, in terms of transformation, because the second part of the journey was like so awesome, and it did what I wanted to be able to do, and that's heal me emotionally, right? And because I was going through that personal time that that was really tough for me, with regards to the marriage part and so on. But coming out of it, I was just like a totally new look, new person, and the emotion in terms of the hurt was all gone. So I'm so grateful for that experience. It's like transformation after transformation. So this COVID era really kind of redefines me, who I am and who I want to be, and tap into the core of my being, right? So that was the cool part. And of course, coming to wisdom is such a awesome practice, because I always wanted to be able to be the communicator that's gonna be effective and change people's lives. And so when I started with wisdom, it was like, because I wanted to start my own podcast, and I did start this because nobody was really here in the beginning, right? So I'm like, yes, I'm speaking to blank screens, and nobody's coming up and talk to you for a little while. But I said that's okay. I'm going to practice the way I talk, the way I speak to people, and how do I impact people with shorter words or shorter saying, so that people will understand and also change their lives that way. And I kind of like got a little bit of an understanding, of how wisdom can work to the better, right? So.
Yeah, I've been very happy with Wisdom, Sonya. I got my $25 Amazon gift voucher, and I purchased a boxing reflex ball, and that's nice to monetize with gifts, that, because as us content creators, we all deserve to have value on our work.
That's awesome. So you got 25 bags.
Yeah, I was happy, nice gift card that Wisdom gets, and that's things like I have gratitude in my life for. It's just those little things.
Yeah, for sure. You don't need a lot to be able to be like happy or satisfied, as long as you feel that you had that effort, right, going through. And I think I think my friend also talked about, in terms of the leadership and the transformation of where you are going is what makes you happy, right? Progress is what we call it, right? And so in that sense, you are fulfilled doing the work, right? Not so much as, the end goal, but the end goal is there, but the process of fine-tuning and getting that mastery is such an awesome journey in many ways, right? So.
And how do you feel about being a top mentor on Wisdom? That's been awesome.
I don't really look at myself like that, right? In that sense, I mean, yes, it's more like it puts you on a different credibility for sure, but I know that there's a lot of top mentors that came in here, so I belong to this group of people. That's how this community, right? That's how I look at this kind of things, because nobody is better than anybody, because we all learn from each other and we're all mentors, right? Yeah, so in that sense, respect what.
For me,
Yeah.
it's a sense of achievement because I feel that I've achieved something in my life as a podcaster.
Yeah, for sure. That's congratulations to you. And if you feel that way, that's awesome. That I think that's the design, the original design of wisdom. So I know that, yeah, and congratulations on what you're doing, your YouTube and your podcast and your music, Of course, I known you just for a little bit now, so, and understanding your transformation as well. So definitely something to note, right? Because it's not easy in the music industry or doing content creating and all of these things that you need to do as a creator or an artist, right? So
Exactly, especially when you do something different.
yeah,
I mean, you
yours
look at
is totally different.
yeah. I mean, you remember the Beatles?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Who doesn't?
they did that documentary on Disney Plus, and they got so many knockbacks. I think it was their manager that saw something in them at the time that they were different. I
Yeah.
think being different is good.
Yeah. I had like of course, my former husband was in, like, his whole family is in the Latin Americas. Of course, music is big, right? So, of course, Beatles being the huge, of course, they were a big fan of the Beatles. So I get to learn a lot about not only the Beatles, but all the different genre of different music. So I came to appreciate music more. And when I hear music and when I wake up, sometimes I would listen to those kind of music, right? Just to also inspire me because, the beats and stuff gives you into a different vibration. And of course, with music, it's the fastest way to get to the vibration that you want as well. So,
Exactly. It's all about enjoying life as much as you can.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, I, of course, in the areas of enjoying life, I know that you go like hiking and all of these things. What do you find yourself enjoying the most? When do you find yourself enjoy yourself the most? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, when I go hiking on an adventure, because it's like traveling for me. Obviously, we can't travel at the moment, so I've got an app called All Trails, and I plan my hike, and I give a review, and I enjoy just getting out and just keeping fit when I'm hiking, And once I get to the where I want, it's just a sense of achievement, and I can sit and meditate outdoors and just put technology down. Because I noticed during the pandemic, everything was all on a computer, and just get out of the office for the day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I love outdoors, and I can't imagine. I can't wait to go to Australia to do the outdoors. Although I heard, a lot of snakes there. And of course, I think you told me once, right, about snakes and stuff, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's the Australian outback is a huge place. You can get lost out there, and yeah, it's not good.
Not good for snakes.
No, especially in the desert. Like, people don't understand how big Australia is. It's a huge place.
Yeah, it is.
The only problem is, I wish it would snow like it would in Canada, where you could play ice hockey on the pond.
That
But
would
it doesn't.
be, yeah. I think if you listen to when Drain came to the room that I had, right, he was saying, doing snowing. What is that? Snow,
Snowboarding,
skiing. No, snow.
skiing,
That motor, whatever. Anyways, I can't think of the word for it, but and your
snowmobile.
yeah, snowmobile. And he said that his friend's tears froze. So that's how like cold it was in Winnipeg. It depends on where you are in Canada, right? Right now, of course, in BC is the mildest of the in place in the country, right? So we're almost the same right now. Of course, we're in Celsius, so about 10 degrees or so. And of course, I'm in Louisiana, it's about 14 degrees. So that, kind of degree separation Celsius wise, it's pretty good. It's pretty mild, compared to the rest of Canada, which is like minus 20 or something like that, right? In the scale of things, So we're pretty lucky on the West Coast, and we have the mountains and beautiful glaciers. And definitely for those of you who haven't been in that area, definitely you have to come by. And of course, we have so much in terms of mountains and ocean that it's just like incredible, the nature. And, you'll love the hiking there as well there.
Yeah, I love to go hiking in the Rocky Mountains, actually, and see some grizzly bears, because I've always favoured Canada more. Just the winter's better.
Yeah, if you do come, yeah, definitely also look me up just message me, and definitely will show you around. Whether it's summer or winter, you always have something to do in British Columbia. And because, like I said, it's the mild weather, I know except for this year, apparently, I wasn't there, so they had like these colder record holding frozen area, and it was kind of interesting, but I managed to somehow escape that, which I don't mind the snow, but sometimes when it's like we were not used to that minus 20 or minus 10, that kind of thing in British Columbia, so so it was new for a lot of us, and of course nobody knows how to drive in snow, right, in British Columbia. So that was kind of, but it's like a beautiful, beautiful province. If you like outdoors, that's the one province you need to go. And of course, next to it is Alberta, and which is also a nice province when you want to go in terms of like the lakes and that kind of thing. So. Yeah.
And what's on your? Are you doing any meditation lately?
In terms of meditation, I do meditation. I do, of course, I do practices with, like Dr. Rao. He has his wellness club, which is every morning. Like he is 7 days a week. That was awesome, in terms of discipline and, also focus and also energy. So, of course, he has this monthly pass that you can do with him, and he corrects your whatever it is that you have problem with. So whether it's mental, emotional, and physical, all of those things, he'll give you a more holistic approach to things, even though he is like a doctor, a medical doctor, right? And he's been doing that for 40 years. So I'm so grateful to have him, and I'm so surprised that nobody is taking advantage of what he's doing and not being like, we all look for the wellness, but the wellness actually starts inside you. And so when you, make yourself into that balance, that core, that beautiful being that you are, then it's such a wonderful way to live life and to enjoy the people around you and the things around you as much, because then everything is enhanced and, become that more awesome world that we live in,
Exactly. Life is, we're only going to live once.
Yeah.
In our life.
At least for now.
Yeah.
We're still energy, we're one, right? So.
I was doing some astral projection meditation last night. I was trying to astral project. I didn't do it, but ended up falling asleep.
That's awesome. I don't do like I do guided meditation, but it's not like it's just I do whether it's for Shakti, which is like creation and stuff like that, helps you restore it, for success, for love, and for health, that kind of thing, right? Which is all encompassing, and you need that as breathing and different techniques allows you to not only be more focused, but also regains the energy throughout the day. So I'm up and early in the morning and I'm finishing at midnight, and the energy is still vibrating inside you. And so, but yet you're sleeping about 5-6 hours per night, that kind of thing, and you're refreshed in the morning and it's ready to go again. And it's such a wonderful, awesome thing to be able to do, to enjoy. And that means the people around you is going to enjoy as well, right? The one that you come across with, right? And that's the practice that I love being involved in, right? So
Yeah, it's all about getting a good night's sleep when you can.
yeah, there is rest and restoration in the sleeps for sure. Yeah.
Like I was very, very thankful for Insight Timer during the pandemic and the lockdowns, because I learnt so much from that app.
Yeah. That's the thing that we were discussing this morning in our wellness club, that people are not going back to work as we thought they would, right? A lot of people, like the big resignation, as you know, and forces people in many ways to look inside themselves to see who they are they becoming, and are they having satisfaction, whether it's a job or at areas outside of their regular lives, right? And so that being the case, there's reflection inside, and a lot there can be like to confront yourself. Sometimes it's tough to do, depends on where you are in life, right? And if you love like what you are giving yourself, that grace to reflect upon yourself, is this where the direction that I want to go in life? Do I want more? And all of us in human being always have that drive to be more, right? To go beyond the boundaries of who we are, right? And that's the cool thing that drives all of us, right? If we don't like what we're doing, we have the ability to change, and that's the thing that I want to inspire in people. You can change. You can have the life that you want. How much is it that you are desiring of that? How much are you willing to put the effort in there to make it so happens? In the process, you're changing yourself so much so that you don't recognize the person you were maybe a year ago, So this is like, I'm so grateful for it as well, Stephen, like yourself, right?
And you too, Sonya. Self growth takes time. It's not something that happens overnight.
Like we've been accumulating. Yeah, sorry.
I've probably grown more during the lockdown than I did in all my 28 years of living, which is weird. Before, I was living in a depression, never had gratitude when I was younger. Now I feel life is just opening up for me. It's just things I can't explain.
That's great. Good to hear, and keep going at it. And eventually, it's not an overnight process, like you said. It's certainly the self-discovery and looking inside yourself and look at a different thing in terms of the separation between the memories and the imagination. Which one is it? Like, we talk about a lot about fear and anxiety and all of these things. If you really think about it, it's all based on, in fear, you're like projecting, you're using your imagination to project what's going to happen. But like everybody knows, very few of what you imagine happens sometime, most of the time, right? You're looking at over 95% that doesn't really happen, right? So, and that being the case, why do we spend so much time in the fear? And why can't we step out of the fear and become who we're you want to be, right? In this world, like you said, life is not that long. If you are always in the joy, in the bliss moment, then life becomes such a beautiful thing, and it goes so fast, right? And this is kind of like, one state that you want to be in, right? And I so love, what is right now, and of course getting to know you better. And thank you for the invite today to come and speak with you. So it's such an awesome opportunity for me to be able to share with also the people that's here that what my journey was and how I came to be who I am today, right?
It's been awesome having you on the Stephen Shields radio show and the podcast as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got to know you, with an Australian accent. Who is this person coming up with the soup? And of course, you had the other avatar before, right? So I was remembering that, yeah, we all grown here because I know it's only been 3 and plus months, right, in wisdom, but look at who we met and the people that we learned from and what we're sharing together, right? It's such an, how great is that? Even in the COVID time, we find a way. Human beings are quite resilient in that, right? We find a way to adapt, and we find a way to make connections. We find a way to, enjoy each other in so many ways, right? So definitely, it's such an appreciation for what it is, what it stands for, the app itself, right? Getting to know people, and also,
talk about overcoming fear. Fear is something that can hold you back in life.
Yeah, a whole lot of people, and myself included, for the longest time, right? You're afraid to step out of that comfort zone that you used to, like, until sometimes, the rug is pulled under you and you have no choice but to face it, and that's facing yourself mostly, right? Because a lot of it is in your head. And so when you can look outside and from, a different angle of yourself, then you can understand it a little more, because you're now outside of who you are, and then you can look at it a little more objectively, right? And then use it to the best of your ability, what you've gained in terms of experience and what we're learning as we go along as well, because not every day is a new day. You're collecting different memories. In terms of food as well, you're collecting in, different food that you put in your body. So you're a new person each day, right?
Exactly. I quite like subscribing to, Napoleon Hill's Thoughts of the Day to my email. I get like a daily quote sent to my business email. It's just really good. You start your morning off reading a nice quote, and I get some quotes sent to my email. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and I read most of his books, right, also. And he studies, over 500 very successful people in U.S. here, right? And to find the pattern and then to put it into a book that gives you the formula for success. And for those of you, or for those of us who are accepting of that, those are the steps to success. And it's as defined you find that commonality and patterns that success people go through to achieve the extraordinary thing that they did, right? And for a lot of things, it is a lot of fails and perseverance and persistence, consistence, all of those things combined, right, to make up of that success. So I really appreciate that as well. But my one book that stands out for me with him was the Outwitting the Devil, right? It is spoken in such a way that, in more of the Western culture where, Christianity is really here in wisdom too, in this area especially. And so when he, there was two, I listened to the audio as well as I have the book itself, right? The conversation is between the two, the devil and that person who was interviewing him, right? So, the way that it's done, and it's so witty, and as well as really awesome in terms of the story and the process that he takes you to, right? And that is success itself if you're coming from that stance, right? So definitely, in terms of recommendation, I would have to recommend that one for you, because this is like if you look at success as a beautiful story and almost like, told in such a way, this wasn't not published for the longest time just because the context of it at that time was so like, many people would reject it. And so when he died, his wife didn't, allow for the publishing until 20 years later after his death, right? This novel.
Wow.
So it's quite interesting if you look at Napoleon's story as well. But
Yeah,
definitely, yeah.
I like Napoleon Hill. I think he's one of the best influential entrepreneurs who live to this day.
Yeah, so definitely yeah. I know I can't force you, but definitely it's just I love it. So I listen to that, and it's just like almost the way it's read, and the voices that people do on that book. The discussion or the conversation between the two is such an awesome way. I mean, listening. So definitely.
What
Audible,
about
man.
listening? Yeah, Audible's okay. I've got one called LibriVox. Pay about $4 a year. That's all the books in the public domain, like from Einstein, Wallace D. Wattles. I'm not very happy with Audible lately. I think they've gotten too greedy. They won't let me stream. You're paying what, $17 a month, and you can only download one book. And I write to them, say, why can't I stream? It's not fair. So if there's another audiobook app out there, please let me know.
Yeah, there is called the audiobook, which is Apple.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
do they have like a subscription service like Audible or not?
Yes, they do. I thought that was one and the same in the beginning. I'm like, because it's through Amazon, right? You can do either one. And but I realized that when I call, and of course, two billings coming in, right? I'm like, okay, what's going on? Yeah. So, anyways, that's kind of like the gist of it, and of course, yeah. How is Australia?
But
Is it still on lockdown, or are they having any days that they're gonna open again?
well, Kanye West has got a problem with the Australian Prime Minister because he doesn't want to get vaccinated, and he's supposed to tour this year. Novak Djokovic got deported. I think he's 3-year ban from the country. It's probably costed him a lot of money. People are protesting vaccine mandates. I'm fed up with it. I want to get my life back, basically. Back to normal.
Yeah.
But that's what's going on in Australia.
Yeah, I don't know if it will ever get back to the. It is a new normal. Let's just say, because I don't think it. With all these now strains floating around, I don't know if it'll ever get back to the normal that we all see before. So, but one day I hope that won't be any time very soon. I don't think.
But just have to keep living life and keep going, Sonya.
Yeah, of course.
And keep manifesting success.
Yes. Put that in, everything we created is done in our mind first, right? So, whether it's a chair or, a car, somebody has to imagine that happened first before. And, that trial and error has to happen as well, right? But the idea and the thought comes in first, and then of course it goes on paper and becomes design, and then of course becomes the actual thing after so many trials of so, I mean, yeah, manifesting. We love discussing manifesting and wisdom apparently. So yeah, I mean, I understand, of course, differently, more of a yogic point of view, right? And yeah, and why not, right? You try everything and then yoga, potentially.
I like yoga.
Yeah, so Uh, yeah, and
I've got a
and
couple of yoga apps that I practice yoga with.
yeah, yeah, that's good. I mean, there is yoga, of course, means union. Union with what is with not only the whole planet as whole, us, all of us, and then the planet, and then the cosmos. Right? That kind of union. So it's not just about twisting the body and all of these things and flexibility and you know, it's all of that. Yes, is a way to tap into our inner, um, core of our being is the technology to tap into who we are, a faster way of doing it, right? To also what you use as manifestation, right? That's how I came to be and how I manifest in terms of the pain to go away, right? This one is because it's emotional and it's mind, and so all of that, it I don't know if you remember my story about that, but certainly like that emotional pain just gone. Like it became almost like a miracle for me, right? That I don't feel that pain anymore. So uh, so that's why I tend to look into a little more on what the whole process and the purpose of that practice is, right? And understanding from that point of view, how can I enhance not only myself but also the people around me, and how can that affect the world, making like helping people to be live happier and healthier, that kind of thing, and also more conscious, right, of what we're doing to ourselves is actually a benefit to everyone and the world, right? So, that's why the business strategist, the wellness component is all in there. And I love the introduction and the combination of those two, right? Internal and external well-being, right? A complete whole you, right?
And that's life is always a challenge as well.
That challenge can be good. As if you take it as a challenge, then it definitely is a beautiful thing, because as a challenge, you are trying to, like you are trying to win, and you're learning from the experience as a result, right? And it's like a game, right? And if you can turn that into your life into a game and have that full play, right, of your life, then it's so much an awesome thing, right? How awesome is that to say that, okay, this is a challenge to me, it'll make me better when I come out of this challenge. And so
Exactly.
if you can turn it that way, and it inspires you to be so much more than who you are today, then this is an awesome challenge to accept. Wouldn't you agree?
And listening to people like Napoleon Hill as well.
But how you use those words are interesting. Yes, the book and the understanding is what your actions are, right? So if you can apply that to better yourself, to better the world, to better everyone around you, it's so much more enhanced. And that's how you use wisdom. And this is the wisdom app, right? So
Yeah. Wisdom is awesome. And, what else are you looking at,
yeah, I
achieving
have
for this year?
this year I have a few courses in the program, and of course, if I can head to India halfway through the year, with all the COVID and stuff like that, we're just not sure just yet. I would be in the Himalayas in July, and of course, for the rest of the year, I would be in India and back in late December. So that's the plan for the half of the year. But from here on to midway through, I like to have most of my company automated, so that way when I'm there, that I can just once in a while peek in. So that would be the ideal, right? And of course, working around that, to make those things happen is what I'm doing right now.
Wow. That is so cool.
Yeah,
It's really
I
cool.
mean, like, I'm so happy with the changes. Once you change the inside, and the outside is just a matter of the skills you've learned so far. And if you don't have it, you go find it. And there's such an easy way to cheat time as well in many ways. You hire all these different coaches, different things that you will assemble as you need to be part of your team to create the life that you wanted. So it's just a matter of you saying, okay, I'm okay with myself now. Let's then focus on developing other things outside of me as well, and see if I can make a difference into people's lives. If you approach it that way, or it's now become your kind of being, right? This is who you are now, right? Because your inside is changed, and you become, I know that people go sappy, and if you can become the light and become the being that you are meant to be. Like I know, I think I was listening to Yahavi earlier. I don't know if I spelled pronounce his name right, about the reason he's doing things and the purpose he's doing. He looks at as more of the purpose. I tend to agree on that part. If you can do purpose versus a goal, then it's definitely a more of a contribution focus, rather than profit kind of focus, or money focus, right? It's the whole movement in your mind that you're doing things for the purpose that's beyond you. Yeah.
Definitely, and you got to live your life with purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose and passion as well.
Yeah, for yourself. Like I know, being a young man, and just like developing yourself in such a way that I know we had our past discussions, and understanding yourself and your on your journey to having people not only looking at your music but also appreciating the arts that you created, right? It's quite interesting in terms of like the transformation wise, and you just keep going, and I love your persistence in this. So I see you almost like whenever you come up to wisdom, right? And that is the consistency. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna tweak some things every day, right? Because if things are not working, then we have to change. And you try a little bit for a bit to see what works, and so on. And they're looking at other people and what other people are doing that's working. Maybe there's some of the style you can tweak, right? Definitely. And then incorporate yourself into it as well, your unique self, I meant by that, right? So
yeah, and it's always being yourself. You got to be yourself in life. That's all you can do, is just be yourself. There's things I've failed. Clearly I failed in business. So I'm thinking about becoming a non-for-profit organisation.
everybody fails, David. So
I'm talking financially with sales. Like I was doing all the best work that I could, but I was just not making money. So I'm thinking, well, if I become a non-for-profit organisation, this is an idea. You don't get taxed, and you don't have to deal with all the government and all that, because that's what happens when you're in business. You gotta the government want to know how much you're making, but that's just an idea.
it'll be interesting, because if you think of it that way, then we'll have to have a talk of wisdom, of course, but definitely some. I know we talked in the past here in wisdom, but haven't really talked personally. So definitely we can do that, and we can throw out different ideas and stuff like that, and see if you can apply that and enhance your business that way. This is kind of the same thing that I do, but
we all do fail. I agree with you on that. I mean, everyone fails in life, but I guess that's life, I mean, it clearly, I never knew that my podcast was going to take off the way it did. And I got a lot of gratitude with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. But now I have to look at it, and then can we also add more value to your podcast, right? And when we talk like this, of course, a lot of people that listen to it is going to be so, of course, because they're seeing value in what we're talking about. And, this is about life and about making, what everybody wanted is to be, whatever the happiness that they think they are, right? And, basically you want to have, healthy body, mind, emotions, energies, those kind of things. That's usually what makes people happy, pleasantness inside and outside. So this is what I talk about when I said internally you are balanced and well on that side of things, and then externally it's a matter of just the application and some of the skills that you need to acquire to become that successful business person that you can be, right? Enterprise is, as an entrepreneur, you're always enterprising and looking at to solve problem for people, right? What is it that people are suffering for or looking for solutions for is the question that usually we ask, right? And how can we solve? And of course, talking about that with Daryl the other day, the bigger the problem, the more where there is money. So if you can look for problem and that problem that people have, and you have the solution through your products or services, this is what we call business, right? And you're trading those those solutions that people are looking for, basically for money, right? So it is it is a specialized, it is a skill that and the solution that you come up with. And we are all problem solvers in many ways, so why not apply some of those skills that you have into solving some people's problem? I mean, there's things that we do that we love. The ideal is, of course, we do what we love, right? But also we, at the same time, we fix people's problem, not just about ourselves. When it goes beyond ourselves, that's when the problem is more in terms of fulfilling and satisfying, when you can solve other people to help people come out of their problematic situation, right? To provide them with that solution. So if you have that mindset going into that kind of that attitude going into life, you are coming out better for it, right? So something that we need to be able to note and apply to our lives, right? There are always all sorts of problems. So pick one. Is it a health problem? Is it a relationship problem? Is it a wealth problem? That kind of thing. And mine was like similar to yours. I was searching for a way to make money. And of course, I read and take every program and do some coaching programs along with that to be able to fine tune and understand and take that process that was successful in the past and have it been proven to be able to do that, and then apply now my own little customization into it of my skill and my background, and propel that forward in such a way that it'll help people generate money. And whether it's to help build their business, we can also look at that, because in many ways these are integrated, right? The money making is in the marketing as well, right? So the two components, and of course, and the skills that you learn, that means like when you have your own practice or when you've been training and doing all the music, there is a process that you take yourself to become the person that you are, to become the musician that you are, right? So why not take people along what you know and understand, and treat that and see what other people are doing that's been successful, and use that process to adapt to your customization of who you are as the skills that you accumulated throughout the years up to this point, right?
Exactly. I just want to say thank you for coming on the Stephen Shields radio show, Sonya. Where can people find you on social media before the timer runs out?
Yeah, I mean, I have all the links here as myself, of course, Sonya Sundara, and as well as, my Growing with Wisdom is under Money Joy Diva, and the Money Joy Club is the next things that's coming up for you guys to be able to enjoy and understand the process of money making and some of the things that will be developed inside that club. So something to look forward to in the near future. February
Awesome.
14th. Yeah.
I give my love, blessings, gratitude, and abundance to you, and I'd love to do this podcast again with you as well.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for the invite, and it's been my pleasure as well. Take care.
Have a good afternoon. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Sonya. This was a fantastic episode on the Stephen Shields radio show. I'm going to finish the podcast right now. I'd like to say, please like, share, subscribe to the podcast, turn on your notifications. You get new episodes every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. Also, guys, you can, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can follow me on Webtalk. I'm going to finish the podcast right now. Cheers and bye for now.